Have y'all ever noticed that certain artists are associated with being bad? Like every time their names come up, the most you hear people say is that they're a terrible artist. I've always wondered if these artists are truly terrible, or is it just a popular thing to say? Well, right about now, I'm about to find out if one of these rappers are bad, as their name is always associated with such. Nick Cannon is probably the main person that has the bad rapper label put on them due to a multitude of reasons. The first reason comes from his origins being that of a Nickelodeon kid, which automatically made people not take his rap career seriously. I was one of those people, especially when I saw his video for the song Your Pops Don't Like Me premiere on Nickelodeon as a kid.
He was a tall, slim model chick I met last week at the mall. Cute feet with the baby fat piece.
I also remember Nick Cannon being on the TV show All That, and I was already mad at the fact that he was on this show, because the original cast were gone. Now as a kid, of course, I didn't fully understand why the original cast was replaced. It's truly hilarious looking back on this, as they could have just outgrown those roles. But I didn't care about that, because I was so accustomed to the original crew. But if I'm being 100% honest, Nick Cannon's version of the show All That wasn't that bad, and he was actually my favorite actor on the show. As a kid, I was already fully immersed in the hip-hop world. So naturally, when I saw that Nick Cannon was pursuing a rap career, I didn't take it seriously. Another reason why Nick Cannon is labeled a bad rapper is the fact that many people consider him as being corny. Now, I myself have never thought that Nick Cannon was corny, and I honestly don't know where this label came from. If I had to guess, it's because he was on Nickelodeon, and he never really portrayed himself as being a tough guy. I'm going to assume that Nick Cannon just has the aura of somebody that people will consider corny due to him not taking himself too seriously. I'm pretty sure people have their list of reasons why Nick Cannon is corny, but I think if I were to see these lists, I wouldn't even agree myself. Another reason that Nick Cannon is labeled a bad rapper is because of his failed attempts at diss tracks towards the rapper Eminem. Now, I'm in full agreement that his diss tracks towards Eminem are absolutely trash. But when I say this, I'm only referring to two though, as I believe his diss track I'm a Slick Rick and The Invitation Cancelled are really bad. I'm not going to go into detail, I'm just going to advise you to go listen to the songs for yourselves. These are the main reasons I can come up with as to why people consider Nick Cannon a bad rapper. But just like I say in all these videos, I myself can't label someone a bad rapper, and I didn't listen to their music. When it comes to Nick Cannon, I never sat down and listened to any of his music. This also goes for his most popular tracks, such as Your Pops Don't Like Me and Gigolo featuring R. Kelly. I never took the time out to listen to those songs, and I definitely have never listened to a full project from Nick Cannon. But that's exactly what I'm about to do in this video, in order to determine if he's actually a bad rapper through his music. Nick Cannon has a total of 7 projects, and one of them is severely obscure, as it isn't on streaming services. The only way that you can listen to this album is if you buy a physical copy of it, which I'm not going to be doing for this video. The name of this project is called White People Party Music, which most certainly has an interesting title. I think what I'm going to do is cover this project in the future because I am interested to see what's on it. For this video, I'm going to listen to 4 of his albums, along with 2 of his mixtapes. Without any further ado, strap your seatbelts and let's find out if Nick Cannon is actually a bad rapper.
I'm a gigolo, spending lots of dough. You can tell the way the wide body sitting on foes.
I'm honestly amazed by Nick Cannon's performance on this project. Out of all of the songs on this album, I didn't like his performance on about 2 tracks, which is an amazing ratio. A lot of songs I didn't like on this album had to do with lackluster production and mediocre performances from guest features. There are also singular things about the songs that annoy me, with the perfect example being the constant sound effect that plays on the most popular track on this album, which is Gigolo featuring R. Kelly. This song is ruined by the monotonous sound effect that plays throughout the track. I honestly think that the sound effect would have worked well by just being on the chorus, but the fact that it plays for the entire track ruins the great performances from Nick Cannon and R. Kelly. One thing I like about Nick Cannon's style on this project is that he has a ton of confidence, which leads to his personality being on full display. You can also sense his passion, as he's someone who really wants to take rap seriously. During this time, Nick Cannon was popular on Nickelodeon, which definitely affected his rap career. I have first-hand knowledge of this, as I remember when the song Your Pops Don't Like Me premiered on Nickelodeon. Even as a little kid, I was someone who didn't take Nick Cannon seriously simply because he was a Nickelodeon kid. I also never fully listened to the song Your Pops Don't Like Me, as I just remember it being played a little bit on TV. Now that I'm older and took the time out to listen to this album, the song Your Pops Don't Like Me is absolutely incredible, and it's a major highlight on this project. The G-Funk instrumental is extremely catchy due to the many creative elements within it. There are also fascinating beat switches, and Nick Cannon's flow and delivery is impeccable. Nick Cannon provides great rap verses, and he also smashes the chorus as he assisted the male vocalist incredibly.
Pops got hot, he was old school pimpin', take tops, flip flops, and dress socks. Ran game when he
There is a noticeable theme on this album, which consists of Nick Cannon providing tracks about his dealings with women. These songs also have similar production, which involves a smooth vocational feel. I'm not saying this as a negative, as the vibe of these tracks are really good when they're executed correctly. A perfect example of this style of track not being appealing is on the song Feelin' Freaky. This song isn't unappealing because of the production or performance from Nick Cannon. It's not likable to me because of the performances from B2K. Their singing vocals don't sound good, and I hate a particular moment in the chorus, which leads to one of them saying the phrase "anybody feeling freaky," as the way it's recited is incredibly annoying.
Anybody feeling freaky? Anybody feeling freaky?
An example of this style of track done correctly is on the song I Used to Be in Love featuring Joe. The laid-back instrumental is infectious, and Nick Cannon complements the style of the singer Joe exceptionally well.
Know this chick named Tanya, down from East Yonkers, had me going bonkers, Kama Sutra Tantra.
Nick Cannon also provides other concepts on this project that are incredibly deep. One song in particular is the track My Rib. I hate the fact that I don't like Nick Cannon's flow on this song, as it sounds very one-dimensional. Although I didn't like his flow on this track, I understand why he went with this style. The simplicity of his flow brings out his lyrics in a major way, which involves him talking about all of the great things that a girl does for him.
My rib, my whiz, my dip, my boo, my chick, my sugar, my shorty.
Another example of Nick Cannon providing a deep concept is on the song I Owe You, which is his version of the song Dear Mama by Tupac. This track is absolutely incredible, as Nick Cannon provides a passionate performance that makes the listener feel his lyrics. He truly loves his mother, and he's thankful for all of the things she's done for him. This leads to Nick stating that he owes his mother the world, as she treated him incredibly throughout his life.
They say the ones you take for granted you miss the most. Woke up every morning, the grits and toast.
But I can't talk about this album without mentioning an absolute banger, which is the song Main Girl featuring Nivea. The production on this track is out of this world, as the inspirational and romantic instrumental is executed incredibly. There's also a catchy moment on this song that's highly addictive. The concept of this track is Nick Cannon describing all of the things he wants and needs in a woman. He ends each of his verses with the statement, which involves him saying, if there are any girls out there that meets his requirements, they can be his main girl. During this moment, a soulful sample of a female vocalist plays, which is an incredible creative choice, as it's highly addictive. Another amazing thing about this track is Nivea's performance. She literally sings her heart out on this song, as her delivery has a high sense of passion. Her voice also sounds angelic, making this a perfectly executed song.
Can I be your main girl? Of course it can.
Just as I said before, I'm shocked by Nick Cannon's performance on this album. Although there are a lot of tracks that don't sonically appeal to me, Nick Cannon's performances are still good on these songs. The songs that are highlights are absolutely amazing, and they have a ton of replay value. In conclusion, this is a pretty good album, as Nick Cannon provides an intriguing performance throughout.
I remember like it was 99, wait, was that 88 when niggas had to make real cake every day for they.
This mixtape is probably one of the most interesting projects I've ever listened to, as there's so much going on. There are definitely a ton of bad things about this project, but there are also a ton of good things about it as well. First off, Nick Cannon provides an amazing concept for this project, as he embraces the fact that a large majority of the world sees him as being corny. This explains the title of this mixtape, which is Child of the Corn. The word corn in the phrase child of the corn means corny. Nick Cannon is basically saying that he's a child of being corny. This also explains another aspect of this project, as Nick Cannon also stands up for those who are classified as being nerds, lames, geeks, and of course cornballs. This leads to another great aspect about this mixtape, as there are a ton of interesting skits that involve Nick Cannon talking to the listener about the hardships that he's faced. He also talks about how he overcame these hardships, which is very motivational. This leads to Nick Cannon providing songs on this mixtape that reflects the overall concept. Some of these songs are really good, and there's also a track that involves this concept, which happens to be one of his worst performances yet. Nick Cannon starts this saga off with a track called Nerd Music. Nick Cannon dedicates this track to the people who are classified as nerds. He states that this song is the revenge of the nerds, which involves him motivating them to stay on their paths, as they're going to win in the long run. I hate to be one of those people that say that his performance on this song is cheesy, as that's the vibe I got from it. The way he recites his lyrics is very goofy, which sort of takes away from the message. I honestly feel like if someone who isn't a nerd heard this track would laugh hysterically, and I wouldn't even blame them.
I'ma bang our set like Wayne Rap Bloods. We should organize and walk like a Crip does. Call me GPS.
But although this song didn't appeal to me, I didn't think that it was bad. But a song that is bad that reflects this concept is the track Weirdo. Just as I said about the song Nerd Music, I feel like this song wouldn't help the case of people who are considered nerds. The reason I say this is because if this song is their theme music, then I feel like people have every right to criticize them in a negative way. I know that may sound harsh, but that's just how bad this song is. Nick Cannon's performance on this track is absolutely terrible. His flow on his verses are unbearable due to how he recites his lyrics. Another horrible thing Nick Cannon did on this project is provide terrible accents on a few songs. On this track, he makes himself sound like someone who would be classified as a weirdo. And I don't think he's trying to mimic the good version of a weirdo, but rather someone who likes to stalk women in grocery stores. There's a moment on this track where he says he likes to eat cornflakes with hot sauce, which is clear indication of someone who's mentally unstable.
Hot sauce on cornflakes. I'm a cornball, watch a porn tape. I still got a VCR.
Another horrible thing about this song is the chorus, as Nick Cannon's humming performance is unbearable as well. This is just a terrible track all around, as there are many things about it that make it such. But enough about the negatives on this mixtape, as there are a ton of instances where Nick Cannon's performances are really good. The songs I didn't care for involved him trying to mimic the styles of artists at the time. This is noticeable on a lot of tracks, as he tries to sound like mainstream artists such as Lil Wayne and Drake. But the songs I did like have great replay value, as Nick Cannon proves that he has the ability to make good music. Another song that highlights the overall concept of this album is the track I'm So Whack. This is another song that involves Nick Cannon embracing the fact that people classify him as being whack. The reason he embraces this is because being so-called whack has led to him achieving great things in life, such as becoming a millionaire and having access to attractive women. He states that he wouldn't have it any other way, as his life is amazing. He flows exceptionally well over the upbeat instrumental, and his lyrics are hilarious.
I'm so whack. I say it all day. Every time you call me whack, nigga, I get paid.
Another thing that Nick Cannon did on this mixtape to a great degree is rap over popular instrumentals at the time. For the most part, his efforts were lackluster, as the original track stood out more than his performances. But there are two instances on this project where he absolutely killed these tracks. The first example comes from the song Cannon Freestyle, where he freestyles over the classic instrumental that appeared on Lil Wayne's mixtape Dedication 2. Nick Cannon's delivery on this track shocked me, as he provides an energetic flow with fascinating lyrics that consist of great punchlines. This track also involves him dissing the rapper Asher Roth, as he dissed him on the same instrumental. Let's just say that Nick Cannon responded to him in a very brutal way, and I'm amazed by his ability to do this.
Here is something that you can't understand. My wife married me because she loves my Cannon.
But a song that involves Nick Cannon absolutely smashing his performance on an original track comes from the song Pearls. Pearls is an original song by the artist Sade, and this is my first time hearing it on this mixtape. The slow melodic production on this track fits incredibly well with Sade's angelic voice, which also consists of her providing a high level of emotion. This fits the concept of this track really well, as Nick Cannon writes this song to his unborn children. He talks about the many hardships they're gonna face based on who their parents are. Nick Cannon knows that himself and Mariah Carey face a ton of backlash for just being together, along with their celebrity status. Nick Cannon states that he's always going to be there for his children no matter what, and every time they're feeling like they're at a low point in their life, just play this song. I was honestly shocked by Nick Cannon's performance on this track, as it's absolutely amazing.
Y'all just kids. To live where we live, it's gonna be individuals being negative. They gonna hate.
I hate to say this, but I don't think Nick Cannon's a bad rapper. But if I'm being honest, this mixtape came out 8 years after his debut album, and it was too late for him to try to start his rap career again. The reason I say this is because there are a lot of instances on this project where his flow isn't fully refined, which makes him sound amateurish on quite a bit of songs. But although this is something that's noticeable, Nick Cannon still showcases his potential in a major way, as he provides a handful of tracks that have very high replay value.
It's really shit I ever wrote, so please don't judge me for my son. Cause shit, goddamn, it's a lot of them. Shit, goddamn.
It amazes me that Nick Cannon was in the game for a decade plus up to this project, and he continues to showcase a great deal of potential. In some instances, Nick Cannon still seems like a hungry rapper that's trying to break through in the industry. I can't do anything but respect his passion, and his efforts for the most part aren't bad either. One thing that's surprising about this project is the fact that Nick Cannon has the ability to showcase a multitude of unique styles. The majority of this project consists of him singing with the auto-tune effect on his voice, and these are my favorite performances from him. His rap efforts are lackluster for the most part, as his overall style feels very amateur-like. There are instances where I heard Nick Cannon rap on songs, and it seemed like he didn't have any experience. There are also a handful of songs where his creative melodic performance outshined his rap efforts to a great degree. Another important element of this project is that the concept revolves around Nick Cannon's dealings with women and sex. There are also introspective tracks on this mixtape as Nick Cannon showcases the fact that he can be vulnerable. A perfect example of this is the intro track My Side of the Story, which involves him reflecting on previous relationships. He talks about how the women in these relationships made a major impact on him as they're responsible for molding him into the person he is today. He thanks these women for this as they taught him valuable life lessons. This song is also an instance where his rap performance was unappealing due to how he recites his lyrics. His nonchalant flow doesn't match well with the inspirational instrumental, which makes this track boring to listen to. But although this is the case, I still like Nick Cannon's lyrics and his ability to shed light on his personal life.
Start with 97, in love with Megan. Good, puppy love, first time ever. She was saying wait, way back then.
Another track that showcases Nick Cannon, providing an introspective concept, is the song Sweet Tina. This song is very interesting as Nick Cannon reflects on his relationship with actress and singer Christina Milian. This song involves him apologizing to Christina Milian as he was the main reason they broke up. There's a hilarious conclusion to this track as Nick Cannon actually has a conversation with Christina Milian, which involves him trying to hit on her. I'm not gonna lie, that boy Nick Cannon was definitely caking on this track.
So you gonna take me back?
Oh my gosh, boy. Go away. Shut up.
Another incredible element of this mixtape is the fact that Nick Cannon works well with a lot of the guest features. A perfect example of this is the song She Put My Shit Outside, featuring Keke Palmer. Their chemistry on this track is absolutely incredible, as they both provide a comedic element to their performances. The concept of this track involves Nick Cannon being in a situation where his girlfriend threw all of his possessions out the house. Keke Palmer plays the role of this girlfriend, and her performance is really good as she provides intriguing singing vocals. Nick Cannon is another major highlight on this track, as he matches the style of Keke Palmer exceptionally well.
Girl, why you throw my shit outside?
Mad I threw your shit outside.
Girl, why you throw my shit outside?
There are many more examples where Nick Cannon did well with the featured artist, but the worst song on this album involves him putting on a hilariously bad performance. The song Wasted has that old school trap feel to it due to it being produced by Zaytoven. Gucci Mane is definitely the highlight on this track, as his vocals are extremely catchy with the trap-influenced instrumental. Nick Cannon's performance is atrocious, as it sounds like he's struggling to rap, but although this is the case, Nick Cannon provides hilarious lyrics, which made me laugh hysterically. One line in particular is when he says, he's going in her mouth and not her booty. The follow-up line involves him saying he don't care, that's super fruity, which got a big laugh out of me.
In a mouth, not a booty, I don't care, that's super fruity.
Another thing that's hilarious on this track is the break that leads to the chorus. This segment consists of Nick Cannon putting on a hilarious auto-tune performance, and it honestly made me laugh uncontrollably. But although I can admit that there is some entertainment on this song, it's terrible overall due to Nick Cannon's performance. The only way I'll come back to this song is to laugh at how bad it is. But I can't talk about this mixtape without talking about Nick Cannon's most intriguing performance yet, as it involves him providing multiple unique styles and flows. The song in question is Overdue, which involves Nick Cannon utilizing autotune in a very catchy and captivating way. I was highly impressed by Nick Cannon's abilities on this track, as it showcases that he has the potential to provide an intriguing vocal performance.
It's overdue, baby, me and you.
Another example of Nick Cannon continuing to showcase great potential is on the last track, All On Me. This song holds his best rap performance on this mixtape, as he provides a ton of passion in his delivery. This greatly reflects the concept, as Nick Cannon states that he understands what strippers go through as they face a ton of backlash. Nick Cannon compares his life to that of a stripper, as he also faces a ton of backlash for a multitude of reasons. The concept of this track brings out his performance a great deal, as it's constantly something he goes through in his career. This track is also another example of Nick Cannon working well with the featured artist, as Raji the One drops a great rap verse on this song as well.
TMZ, put it all on me, that ain't the truth, then it ought to be and everybody get the white.
In conclusion, I'm honestly intrigued by this project. It's shocking to me that all of the projects I listen to from Nick Cannon aren't bad, and this is another example. The main thing I don't like about some of the songs on this project is that Nick Cannon's performance doesn't sonically appeal to me. I don't necessarily think these songs are horrible, which continues to highlight the fact that he's not that bad of a rapper. There are also a ton of instances where he provides intriguing performances with a multitude of styles that are highly impressive. He also works well with a lot of the featured artists, and his concepts are interesting. This isn't a bad album at all, as Nick Cannon continues to showcase great potential.
And baby, it's all that matters to me.
Nick Cannon took a positive aspect from his previous project and implemented it on this album. I'm referring to his R&B performances, which were the best moments on his previous mixtape, The Gospel of Ike Turn Up. The highlights of that project were his melodic performances, and he brought that to this album full throttle. Overall, I was impressed by Nick Cannon's performances, as his singing vocals are intriguing. You can definitely sense that he went into this project with serious intentions to make good music. I was shocked by his performance on the opening track, as his singing vocals blend well with the dark, gloomy instrumental. Speaking of instrumentals, the production on this album is fantastic, as there isn't a bad beat. The instrumentals reflect the R&B feel of this project, consisting of production that has a dark, sensual feel to it, along with addictive piano melodies and joyful production. Another highlight of this project is its overall concept. Every track on this album has the word call in it, which takes the listener on a journey through Nick Cannon's dealings with women. These things consist of him calling them, being anxious to call them, and him not wanting these women to call him. The structure of these songs are really good, and Nick Cannon did a phenomenal job highlighting his various emotions on each track. There are a multitude of examples that highlight the amazing concepts, along with Nick Cannon providing a remarkable performance. One great example that highlights this is the song Frozen Call. This track consists of Nick Cannon's phone freezing while he's on a FaceTime call with his significant other. This leads to him singing to her as if time has frozen, which makes him want to cherish the moment. His singing vocals are captivating, as you can hear the rawness in his voice. Another highlight about Nick's performance on this song is that his singing vocals are unfiltered, which adds a high level of authenticity to his performance. One thing that stood out is that his voice cracks when he hits high notes during his verses, which adds an intriguing element to his performance, which is that of a raw feel.
Flowers will be blooming, the leaves will be turning.
There are songs on this project that involve Nick Cannon absolutely smashing his performance. The first example of this is the song Hold My Calls. Nick Cannon's performance is so good on this song, it doesn't even sound like him. If you were to hear this song without knowing that Nick Cannon was on it, you wouldn't even guess that it was him singing. That's how great his performance is on this track, which highlights the fact that he has the ability to provide incredible songs.
I gave you money, that's mine. Keep the money, that's fine. Can you pay back the time?
Another highlight that showcases his incredible R&B style is the song Waiting for Your Call, Call Waiting. Nick Cannon absolutely kills his performance on this track as he adapts to the sensual instrumental exceptionally. The instrumental also has catchy elements within it due to the addictive muffled singing sample that plays throughout. Another thing that's great about Nick's performance is that his singing vocals blend perfectly with the female vocalist on the hook, which is another extremely catchy element about this track. The only negatives of this project are some of Nick's performances not being fully refined. He still has amateur-like elements to his style on certain tracks, but it isn't that big of a deal, as I enjoyed his performances on this project for the most part. This album also holds some of Nick Cannon's best performances, and I'm shocked that this album is as good as it is.
I've been really coolin' in the mansion. Shorty only said my diamonds dancing. Been an overhitter with the cannon. Take that pussy to another.
I honestly can't believe how good Nick Cannon's performances are on this project. There isn't an instance where I felt that his style was amateurish, as he provides incredible melodic and rap vocals throughout. Another incredible element to Nick Cannon's style on this project is the fact that he showcases a high amount of passion on each song, which also reflects the concept of this project. Nick Cannon talks about all of the hardships he goes through while being a prominent figure in the entertainment industry. This leads to entities envying his success, along with him dealing with people that pray for his demise. Another important aspect of the concept that reflects the title of this project is the fact that Nick Cannon constantly states that he wants nothing but the best for his community. He puts in a lot of work in order for his people to benefit, but they often misuse this notion, which leads to him not wanting to deal with them. A song that greatly reflects this aspect is the track Instead of Nipsey, which involves Nick Cannon talking about how he's on the verge of giving up, as a large majority of people don't share his same beliefs. His beliefs are also comparable to Nipsey Hussle's, as he's another prominent figure that wanted the best for his community. Nick Cannon states that he sometimes wishes he would have died instead of Nipsey, as he can't continue to handle the envious nature of his community. Another important aspect of this project is his constant disses towards the rapper Eminem. During this time, Nick Cannon beefed with Eminem again, as Eminem took his kind gesture as disrespect. The kind gesture I'm referring to is the fact that Nick Cannon wanted to squash his beef with Eminem by inviting him on his TV show Wild 'N Out. Now that I think about it, this reflects the other aspect of the this project, which is that of Nick Cannon wanting to bring people together, but those same people don't share the same sentiment. The fact that Nick Cannon has the ability to provide this deep of an introspective concept on a project is mind-blowing, and I'm highly impressed by his ability to do this. But not only is the concept of this album great, his performances are absolutely incredible. Nick Cannon has the ability to provide a multitude of unique and intriguing styles, which he does for the entirety of this project. Although I didn't like the sound of his voice on the intro track Know What It Is, he flowed exceptionally well over the instrumental with a unique style. There are countless examples of Nick Cannon absolutely killing his performances on songs, which made this project highly enjoyable to listen to. A major highlight that stuck out to me is the song No Love For Me. Nick Cannon provides a catchy melodic performance on this song, and his singing vocals sound really good.
Everybody want love for me, nobody show no love for me. You ain't never spilled no blood for me.
Also on the song Instead of Nipsey, he provides an extremely passionate performance, which adds a high level of authenticity to the track. If I'm being honest, the only negative thing about this project is that I didn't like the sound of his flow on the intro track Know What It Is, as it sounds like he was sick while he recorded it. Other than that, Nick Cannon provides intriguing performances throughout, and the production is great as well. In conclusion, this is an amazing project due to Nick Cannon showcasing an incredible style overall.
A man crushed Monday, I can't be it no more. Tuesday blues, Wednesday she went go.
On this project, Nick Cannon continues to showcase his intriguing singing and rapping ability. This is honestly a great revelation to me, as I had no idea that Nick Cannon was able to provide good music to such a high degree. I honestly feel like if you take away the narrative that Nick Cannon is corny and just listen to the music, people would really enjoy it. I think since this project has Nick Cannon's name slapped on it, it automatically turns people off. But the music is actually good, as Nick Cannon has the ability to adapt to a lot of different styles in production. One thing that sticks out on this project is the name of it along with the album cover. The name and album cover implies that it's incredibly raunchy, which actually isn't the case. Now don't get me wrong, there are explicit songs on this project, but it isn't the majority of this album, as most of the songs consist of an inspirational feel with lightly explicit lyrics. Nick Cannon continues to provide great concepts throughout this album, which makes for a highly enjoyable listening experience. Another thing that I noticed about this project is that Nick Cannon pays homage to a multitude of rap and R&B tracks, as the instrumentals sample key moments from these songs. Perfect examples that highlight this are the tracks F You Better, which samples the song Love You Better from Mary J. Blige. The instrumental on this track is amazing, as it has elements from Mary J. Blige's song that gives off a gloomy late night drive feel. Nick Cannon also showcases an intriguing rap and melodic performance, as he matches the production exceptionally well.
Girl, you can get all this. Don't worry about who fault it is. I was blessed with.
Another notable track that highlights Nick Cannon's homage to popular rap and R&B songs is the track 7 O'Clock, which references the classic song from Usher called Nice and Slow. This is another instance where the production and Nick Cannon's performance pays homage to a popular song remarkably.
It's 7 o'clock and I'm about to get caught. That put me to sleep.
One major flaw in this project is that Nick Cannon adds a comedic element to his performances, which takes away from his incredible ability to provide singing and rap vocals. I'm not saying these performances are bad, but the comedic element definitely takes away from the fact that Nick Cannon can actually sing and rap, which leads to these songs not being sonically enjoyable. Perfect examples that highlight this are the tracks Lil Bro, The Provider, and Good D. Another notable highlight on this project is the fact that Nick Cannon works well with the guest features. The intro song kicks this off as he provides an intriguing melodic performance that matches the highly skillful singing vocals from the artist K. Michelle.
If you think you're horny now.
A major highlight that showcases this is the track Faithful featuring Brandy. This track is also an example of a song shying away from the title, as it doesn't revolve around sex. This song is very inspirational, as Nick Cannon highlights certain people in his life that have the attribute of being faithful. This song has a joyful feel to it, and Nick Cannon's vocals match perfectly with the inspirational singing performance from Brandy. If I'm being technical, this track is basically 2 songs, and both of them are amazing. I don't know the name of the second song, but the concept is about Nick Cannon knowing that it's wrong to overstep certain boundaries when it comes to a particular girl. Although he has strong feelings for this girl, he doesn't want to come in between her current relationship, which leads to him venting out his frustrations. His singing performance is absolutely incredible, as he effortlessly flows on the upbeat inspirational instrumental.
First off, I'ma say I ain't got nothing but love for you.
The extremely raunchy songs are also really good, as Nick Cannon did an amazing job presenting that smooth and sensual R&B style. His style on these tracks remind me a lot of R. Kelly, and I must say that his execution is absolutely mind-blowing. A perfect example that highlights this is the track Me So Incredible 1 and 2. This is another track that involves Nick Cannon showcasing a high amount of creativity as he provides catchy melodic vocals throughout this track that's split up into 2 songs. He adapts to both instrumentals on this track, and his performance is absolutely fantastic.
You got that sex appeal, sex toys from the sex store, sex to me.
In conclusion, this is another great project from Nick Cannon, and I'm completely amazed how he got better and better the more he made music. Now, to answer the question, is Nick Cannon a bad rapper? Surprisingly, he's not. From the beginning of his projects, he's always shown great potential, and I'm honestly shocked by how good his music is overall. Now, one thing I got to say before I continue my explanation of why Nick Cannon isn't a bad rapper, I want to address all the people that say that I troll when it comes to this series and my reviews in general. If you're somebody that believes that I troll, I'm gonna honestly start packing y'all up. The reason this is the case is because I take what I do very seriously, and when I listen to these artists, I actually listen to them. To reiterate on that, when I listen to projects from these artists, I'm actually listening to each song 5 or 6 times. There are also instances where I'll listen to a song 20 times, just to get the full understanding of it. Now that I mentioned this, a song that I did this with in Nick Cannon's discography is the track he did with Keke Palmer called She Put My Shit Outside. When I first heard this song, I thought it was absolutely terrible, but the more I listened to it, the better it kept getting. I listened to this song a good 20 times, which is not something that's odd when I listen to these artists' discographies. So if you're someone that undermines what I do, you're instantly going to get packed up, even if you're somebody that's joking, because the joke is very old. Another comment that is starting to annoy me when it comes to reviewing these rappers that are considered bad is when people say that the supposed artist must have paid me to give them good scores. Now, I especially find this hilarious when it comes to Nick Cannon, as I feel like Nick Cannon would be someone that will actually pay me to say that his music is bad. The reason I say this is because he literally lets people joke about his music being bad on his own TV show Wildin' Out. I feel like Nick Cannon is somebody that likes to have the bad rapper label put on him, as he doesn't take himself too seriously. But just for anybody that's concerned, I will never accept payment from anyone to give them a good score. But let's get back to Nick Cannon not being a bad rapper. Just as I said before, I'm honestly surprised by how good Nick Cannon actually is. He's shown a high amount of growth throughout his projects, and I can honestly say that he got better with each album. He has the ability to showcase a multitude of styles, and his strong point is most definitely tracks that lean towards the R&B genre. Some of my favorite songs from Nick Cannon involved him putting on a melodic performance, and his execution on that aspect is great overall. Nick Cannon also showcased the fact that he can provide multiple intriguing rap flows, with a perfect example being his 4th album, The Miseducation of the You Love to Hate. This project consists of Nick Cannon's best rap performances, along with him having the ability to provide interesting concepts. Another thing that's absolutely puzzling is that I believe that Nick Cannon only has 3 bad songs throughout his discography. I honestly thought there would have been a lot more, but Nick Cannon surprised me on these projects, as his overall style isn't bad at all. Just as I said when I reviewed his album The Explicit Tape Raw and B, I feel like if people take away the corny label that's on Nick Cannon and just actually listen to the music, they would enjoy it, because his music isn't bad at all, and there are quite a bit of gems in Nick Cannon's catalog as well. The song that I've been bumping the most is the final track from the Explicit Tape, as the 2 songs that appear on this track are absolutely incredible. But just as I said before, Nick definitely has gems in his catalog. He's also not a bad rapper, as he showcased a multitude of incredible abilities. With that being said, this was another episode of my Bad Rapper series. Stay tuned, because I plan to do a lot more.